Maximum people believe happiness is something big, a dream job, a perfect relationship, a breakthrough moment where everything in life suddenly feels right. But neuroscience is quietly revealing something far more surprising. Your happiness is not built by big life changes. It's built by tiny behaviors your brain repeats every day. In fact, researchers studying brain plasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, have discovered something fascinating. The brain doesn't care whether a behavior is big or small. What it cares about is what you repeat. Repeat a thought long enough, and your brain strengthens it. Repeat a behavior daily, and your brain builds a pathway for it. That means something incredibly powerful and slightly uncomfortable. Your brain may already be wired for stress, comparison, and dissatisfaction, not because your life is bad, but because of small habits you repeat without noticing. Checking your phone first thing in the morning. Rushing through your day without moments of awareness. Focusing on problems more than progress. Individually, these behaviors feel harmless, but together they quietly train your brain to default to dissatisfaction. The good news? The exact same mechanism can be used to rewire your brain toward happiness, and it doesn't require massive life changes. It requires something much simpler. Micro habits, small behaviors that take less than a minute, yet gradually reshape how your brain processes the world. In this video, we're going to explore 10 micro habits backed by psychology and neuroscience that can slowly rewire your mind for calm, optimism, and emotional resilience. But here's the surprising part. The first habit takes less than 10 seconds, and most people completely overlook it. The first 60 seconds that shape your entire day. You might not realize this, but the first minute after you wake up quietly programs your brain for the rest of the day. Most people make this mistake. The moment their eyes open, they grab their phone. Notifications, emails, news, social media. Within seconds, their brain is flooded with comparison, urgency, and unfinished tasks. Before they even leave the bed, their mind has already shifted into stress mode, and neuroscience explains why. The first few minutes after waking are when the brain moves from theta brainwaves to beta brainwaves. During this transition, your brain is highly impressionable, almost like a sponge absorbing emotional signals. If the first signal is stress, your brain prepares for a stressful day. If the first signal is calm, your brain calibrates for calm. This leads to the first micro habit. Micro habit number 1. The 10-second awareness pause. When you wake up, don't reach for your phone immediately. Instead, pause for just 10 seconds. Take one slow breath and ask yourself one simple question. How do I want to feel today? Not what you want to achieve, not what problems you need to solve. Just the emotional tone of your day. Calm, focused, curious, grateful. This tiny moment activates your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for intentional thinking. Instead of letting your environment dictate your mood, you start the day with psychological direction. It's subtle, but powerful. Now the second habit builds directly on this. Micro habit number 2. The micro gratitude trigger. Most people think gratitude requires journaling pages of thoughts, but research from positive psychology shows something simpler. Even one moment of appreciation can activate dopamine and serotonin, the brain's happiness chemicals. So right after your awareness pause, identify one thing you appreciate. It could be something small. The quiet of the morning, a comfortable bed, the fact that today is a new start. This works because gratitude interrupts the brain's negativity bias. Your brain naturally scans for problems to keep you safe. Gratitude forces it to notice something else, something good. And when this becomes a daily habit, the brain slowly begins to scan for positive signals automatically. But here's the interesting part. Morning habits are powerful, but they are not the only moments when your brain is rewiring itself. Throughout the day, there are hidden psychological checkpoints where tiny habits can dramatically shift your mood. And the next one appears during a moment most people ignore completely: walking. The happiness switch, hidden in movement. Most people think happiness comes from big experiences, vacations, achievements, major milestones. But you might not realize this. Your brain releases powerful mood-boosting chemicals during something far more ordinary. Movement. Not intense exercise, not hours in the gym, just simple, intentional movement. But here's where most people miss the opportunity. They walk every day, to the kitchen, the office, the car, but their mind is completely somewhere else. Scrolling, worrying, thinking about problems. The body moves, but the mind stays trapped in stress. This leads to the next micro habit. Micro habit number 3. The 30-second mindful walk. Once or twice a day, during any normal walk, maybe to another room, outside, or down a hallway, Bring your attention to your movement. Notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. Notice your breathing. Notice the rhythm of your body. This might sound incredibly simple, but something fascinating happens neurologically. When you shift attention to physical sensation, you activate the insula, a brain region connected to emotional awareness and regulation. This pulls your mind out of rumination, the endless loop of overthinking, and brings it into the present moment. In other words, your brain gets a temporary reset. Now here's the second habit connected to movement. Micro habit number 4, the look-up habit. When people feel stressed or unhappy, their posture and gaze tend to shift downward. Eyes on the phone, eyes on the ground, shoulders slightly closed. Psychologists call this a closed attention posture, and it reinforces negative mood patterns. But something simple can interrupt it. Looking up. When you're walking outside, deliberately look around. Notice the sky, the trees, the buildings. Even just 3 seconds of environmental awareness can activate what researchers call awe micro moments. Awe, even in tiny doses, expands mental perspective and reduces stress signals in the brain. This is why people often feel unexpectedly calm when looking at wide landscapes or the sky. Your brain momentarily realizes, life is bigger than the problem I'm thinking about. But happiness isn't just about calming stress, it's also about something deeper, connection. And the next micro habit taps into one of the strongest psychological predictors of long-term happiness. Something so small, most people underestimate it. Eye contact, the social habit. That changes your brain chemistry. You might not realize this, but one of the fastest ways to improve your emotional state involves another human being, and it takes less than 5 seconds. Modern life has created an interesting paradox. We are more connected digitally than ever, yet many people experience subtle social isolation every day. Passing strangers without acknowledgement, ordering coffee without looking at the person behind the counter, living entire days interacting mostly with screens. And the brain quietly interprets this as social disconnection. From an evolutionary perspective, isolation meant danger. So your brain releases small amounts of stress hormones when social connection is absent, but tiny moments of connection can reverse this instantly. This leads to the next micro habit. Micro habit number 5, the 2-second eye contact habit. When you interact with someone, at a store, work, or even passing by, make eye contact for just 2 seconds and smile slightly. That's it. 2 seconds. This activates mirror neurons in both brains. Mirror neurons are responsible for emotional synchronization between people. When you smile at someone, their brain subtly reflects that emotional signal back to you, and both people experience a microdose of oxytocin, the connection hormone. It's a small moment, but the psychological impact is real. Now here's another habit that builds on this. Micro habit number 6, the appreciation sentence. Once a day, express one simple appreciation to someone. Not a long conversation, just one sentence. Thanks for helping with that earlier. I really liked the way you explained that. You did a great job on that project. Positive social feedback creates what psychologists call reciprocal positivity loops. When you appreciate someone, their brain registers social value. They respond with warmth, cooperation, or appreciation in return. And suddenly, a normal interaction becomes a positive emotional exchange. Over time, these small interactions reshape how your brain perceives people. Strangers become friendlier. Conversations feel lighter. The world feels slightly more cooperative, but there's another factor that strongly influences happiness. And surprisingly, it happens mostly inside your own head, your internal dialogue. The next 2 micro habits target the silent conversation you have with yourself every day. And once you see them, you may never think about your thoughts the same way again. Rewiring the voice inside your mind. Most people believe their thoughts simply happen, that the voice inside their mind is just reality, but psychology reveals something important. Your inner dialogue is not a fact, it's a habit pattern, and like any habit, it can be trained. You might not realize this, but your brain runs thousands of automatic evaluations every day. Hey, why is this going to be difficult? I'm bad at this. That person probably thinks I'm incompetent. These thoughts feel natural, but they quietly reinforce emotional patterns of doubt, stress, or self-criticism. This leads to the next micro habit. Micro habit number 7, the pause and label. Technique. Whenever you catch a negative thought, pause and label it. Simply say in your mind, that's a stress thought, or that's a worry story. This technique comes from cognitive psychology. By labeling the thought instead of believing it, you activate the prefrontal cortex, which reduces emotional reactivity from the amygdala. In simple terms, you create a tiny gap between you and the thought. and that gap weakens the thought's emotional power. Now the second habit goes even deeper. Sure is micro habit number 8, the tiny win recognition. Habit. The human brain is biased toward noticing problems more than progress. Psychologists call this negativity bias. You might complete 10 tasks in a day, but your brain focuses on the one unfinished task. Over time, this creates the feeling that you're always behind. The solution is surprisingly small. At the end of your day, identify one tiny win, not a huge achievement, just something small. Maybe you finished an email you were avoiding. Maybe you stayed calm during a stressful moment. Maybe you simply showed up when you didn't feel motivated. Recognizing tiny wins releases dopamine. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical, it's the brain's motivation signal. When your brain associates progress with reward, it becomes easier to continue positive behaviors. But there's one more factor that dramatically influences happiness, and it's something almost everyone does right before bed, without realizing how much it shapes their emotional life. The night habit. That rewires your emotional memory. You might not realize this, but your brain does something fascinating while you sleep. It organizes emotional memories. Events from the day are processed, sorted, and stored. But here's the problem. If your last thoughts before sleep are stressful, your brain tends to prioritize those memories. This is why people sometimes wake up still feeling the emotional weight of yesterday. But there's a micro habit that can influence this process. Micro habit number 9, the last thought. Habit. Before sleeping, ask yourself one question. What was one good moment today? It doesn't have to be extraordinary. Maybe a short conversation made you laugh. Maybe you enjoyed a quiet moment during lunch. Maybe you simply felt calm for a few minutes. By recalling that moment, you prime the brain to store positive emotional memories during sleep. Over time, this changes how you remember your days. Instead of days blending into stress and routine, your brain begins recording small moments of satisfaction. Now the final habit might be the most unexpected one, because it requires something many people struggle with: doing nothing. Micro habit number 10, the 2-minute mental reset. Once a day, sit quietly for 2 minutes. No phone, no music, no input, just breathing and observing your thoughts. This might feel uncomfortable at first. Your brain may immediately start producing tasks, worries, or distractions, but that's exactly why this habit matters. When you regularly pause mental stimulation, you strengthen the brain's default mode network regulation, the system responsible for self-reflection and emotional balance. Over time, your mind becomes less reactive and more observant, and that subtle shift can dramatically increase your sense of calm. But here's the question that matters most. If these habits are so small, can they really change how happy you feel? The answer lies in something incredibly powerful: neuroplasticity. Here's the surprising truth about happiness. It rarely arrives through dramatic life transformations. Instead, it grows quietly through repeated micro-experiences. A moment of awareness when you wake up. Write a few seconds of gratitude. A mindful step while walking. A small act of connection. A gentle shift in how you talk to yourself. Individually, these habits seem almost insignificant. But your brain doesn't measure change by size. It measures change by repetition. Every time you repeat one of these micro habits, you strengthen a neural pathway. And over weeks and months, those pathways slowly become your default way of experiencing life. More awareness, more calm, more appreciation. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because your brain becomes better at noticing what was always there. So here's something worth asking yourself tonight. Which one of these habits could you start tomorrow? Just one. Because the smallest habits are often the ones that quietly reshape an entire life. And if you found yourself recognizing your own patterns in this video, subscribe, because in the next one, we'll explore the hidden psychological habits that secretly drain your happiness without you realizing it. And once you see them, you may never think about your daily behaviors the same way again.